Today I'm going to comment on some of the comments on this channel. I'll explain why I'm wearing this cape and get into the latest home prices and insights for York Region. Comments. I love the comments. I love hearing everybody's opinion out there. Sometimes I'll be responding to a lot of those, and it doesn't matter if the opinions are opposite of what I believe. I just love the dialogue. So thank you for all of you that comment. Let me address some of these comments though. I'm addressing this because I feel it's going to help a lot of us understand what we're doing here. So one of the comments was, why does he do this weekly? Analyzing the data on a weekly basis is useless, was the comment. Well, let me respond to that. For those of you that don't know, on Tuesday, I put out a report for the City of Toronto. On Wednesday, I put out a report for the Peel and Durham region. So I analyzed Brampton, Mississauga, Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. And on Thursday, I put out a report for York region, Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham. I do that every week, and I've been doing it for almost 3 years now, every single week. If I did this on a monthly basis, it would be far easier, far simpler. But I don't think I'd be sharing as relevant information if I did this on a monthly basis. Doing it on a weekly basis, it's more accurate. Let me give you an example. March 2020, we got to go back a little while, but this is a great example. March 2020, the first 2 weeks of March, record prices, record sales. And February was phenomenal. Going into March, everything was going up. Middle of March, the world stopped in its tracks. The next week, the next 2 weeks of March, then into April, went down. And it didn't slope down. It went from here to boom, almost straight down. Now, if I was analyzing the data and presenting it on a monthly basis, we would have had January, February, and March would have balanced itself out, and April a slight slope. So the effect on real estate would have been, not much change. That's because the first 2 weeks of March would have offset the almost zero second 2 weeks of March. But on a weekly basis, we saw the transition and we saw how quick and sharp it was. And it was accurate. I'm reporting today for week ending just a few days back. It's accurate. If I do it on a monthly basis, I'm giving you data from 5 weeks ago, sometimes 6 weeks ago. It's just not relevant. It's not accurate anymore. That's why I do it on a weekly basis. It's far more accurate, makes it easier to spot a trend quicker. Now, there is an argument that sometimes the data on a weekly basis, the sample size is not high enough. And that's true. And you've often heard me tell you when I read a number that's not making sense to say, hey, there's only 10 sales or there's only 5 sales, so don't take this average price so serious. And I'll tell you that. But just because sometimes one of the samplings or two of the samplings is not as accurate as it can be, doesn't make all the data I'm presenting useless. It's just those situations. These are averages. This is not what your home is going to sell for. The averages, the median prices, the trends I'm talking about are my experiences from being street level. The numbers I'm giving you are as accurate as possible in as short a time as possible. That's why, again, I do it on a weekly basis. There was another comment. Why isn't he talking about the massive job losses? Look, I'm reporting on, again, street level, what's happening with prices. My experience is what I'm experienced working with buyers and sellers as a realtor. When I see job losses affecting prices, for example, if all of a sudden we get a ton of listings and I see it's because of job losses, I'm going to tell you, lots more properties are for sale because of all these job losses. But I'm not seeing that, so I'm not telling you about it. I don't dive deep into job losses, why they're happening, how are they going to affect us. I'm only talking to you about things that are affecting us. Job losses, bond market, foreign policy. When I see any of these external factors, and there's so many external factors when it comes to real estate, but here on this channel, I'm reporting the effect on real estate, prices, sales, all that. As far as how it's going to affect or how any of these factors are affecting prices, you're asking for a prediction. Nobody can accurately predict real estate. I know when it comes to predictions, lots of people are attracted to predictions. No one can accurately predict prices and public sentiment. No matter how much you analyze the numbers, nobody can predict it. It's its own animal. I don't do predictions, but I'm giving you data as accurate as possible as soon as it happens. So, if you like the information I'm supplying, if you like the way I present the data, please consider subscribing, pass this video along to other people you think it may help. Let me tell you why I'm wearing this cape. This is why we're wearing capes.
The fine folks at the Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital have found the absolute coolest way to raise funds in support of kids and youth with disabilities. They're going to be hosting an event called Capes for Kids. It's at the Raptors 905 game this Monday, February 6th at 7 p.m. at the Paramount Fine Food Center, and the goal is to make it into the Guinness Book of World Records for most amount of people wearing capes in one building. I think the record stands at about 2,266. I'm sure we're going to beat that.
We can beat that.
It's hosted by Pascal Siakam. There's going to be other faces that you guys know. So if you're free, again, Monday night, February 6th, join us. We're going to be there. It's in support of a great cause. We hope to see you guys there.
If you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, we made it really simple. Below this video in the description is a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you. This way, I'll know ahead of time. I'll make sure my schedule's organized so we can talk about whatever's on your mind. Let's get into the numbers. I have here Vaughan. I will be talking about Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham, detached properties, and then I'm going to get into condos for all of York region. So here we have Vaughan, detached properties, broken down by week for a whole year. 14 detached properties were sold. That's for week ending January 25th. 14 were sold. 4 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price came down from the previous week to $1,726,000. Let's look at the whole year for a second here though. We were here. We spent a good part of the year kind of balanced out over here, although sloping down to about September, middle of October, average prices sloping down. But then it kind of looks like we evened out a bit, and then even maybe prices look like they've been going up. Well, I can tell you it looks like that prices have been trending up over the last couple months, but it wouldn't be a full proper analysis of what's happening. These are just the numbers. I'm also in the field working with buyers and sellers. I work the York region market, and I can tell you prices have not been going up the way they show there, but what's been happening is sales have been so low since December that those 1 or 2 or 3 luxury properties that do get sold pull up the overall average to give the impression that, wow, average prices are up, but they actually are not. Compared to last year, $1,726,000 is 22% higher. Sorry, it's 22% lower than where the average sold price was a year ago. The median price, $1,468,000, is 25% lower than where the median price was a year ago. The dotted line, that's a 4-week moving average. It makes it simpler to spot a trend when we look at the 4-week moving average. And again, like I said, over the past 2.5 months, 3 months, kind of looks like prices have been going up, but not really. It's because of the low sales. The sampling is so low, it kind of shows that it's going up, but it's really not. Let's look at sales. The orange, those are sales this year. The blue, those are sales same time a year prior. Look, this time last year, breaking records. Sales were through the roof. Average prices were through the roof. So comparing to last year, we expect to have less activity this year versus last year, but it's way less. And look, and many times it's like less than half. Like week ending 25th, we're less than half of what the sales were a year ago. Listings are pretty much the same. They're actually a little bit more this year, new listings of detached properties, than we had a year ago. Active listings, we have 2.9 times more active listings this year than what we had a year ago. We're sitting at 194 active listings. Months of inventory, sitting at 3.2 months of inventory. Now, technically speaking, we say it's a balanced market between 4 to 6 months. But I got to tell you, at 3.2, it's going to feel very much like a balanced market already. Here's Richmond Hill. 14 detached properties were sold. 5 sold at $2 million or more. So more than a third of the properties sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price, no surprise, sitting at over $2 million bucks at $2,043,000. $2,043,000 is 6% lower than where the average sold price was a year ago. The median price of $1,932,000 is 2% higher than where the median price was a year ago. Sales, way off the pace of where we were last year, way off the pace. Listings, a little bit less, fewer listings than what we were listing a year ago. Months of inventory has come down, sitting at 2 months of inventory. Here's Markham. 15 detached properties were sold. No property sold at $2 million or more, which is a bit unusual for Markham. There's always property selling at $2 million bucks or more. But just in the last 3 weeks, there's been 2 weeks where no property sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price did come down to $1,572,000. 1,572 is 31% lower than where the average sold price was a year ago. The median price of $1,510,000 is 20% lower than where the median price was a year ago. Sales, no surprise, fewer than last year, 15 sold, but 73% sold at list price or more. So we're not having the luxury sales, but the ones that are selling often in multiple offer situations or over list price. Listings, pretty much on par to what we were listing before, especially if we average all of January out. Months of inventory sitting at 1.9. That's for Markham detached properties. Here are condos. This is for all of York region. 20 condominium apartments were sold. No condos sold at $1 million or more. Average sold price, $652,000. Condos were, when we were at our peak a year ago, a little bit over $800,000. Now they're averaging $650 to $650 to $700 or so. They've been averaging the last month. 652 is 14% lower than where the average sold price was a year ago. The median price of $667, so the median price a little bit higher than the average sold price, is 9% lower than where the median price was a year ago. Sales, way off the pace of what we were selling a year ago. Listings, pretty similar if you kind of average it out than what we were listing a year ago. The real story with listings is active listings. Compared to sales, there's a ton of condos available for sale. We have 5 times more than what we had a year ago. We're sitting at 346 active listings for week ending January 25th. Months of inventory sitting at 4. It is very much a balanced market when it comes to condos. And in some buildings that maybe have more listings versus the amount of buyers trying to buy, it might even be feeling like a buyer's market in some situations out there. Here's a quick summary. Look, months of inventory starting to elevate in York region. We're seeing this more in York region than a lot of the other areas where it's become a little bit more active, it's a little bit more busier, more multiple offers. Markham is trending kind of that way right now, but not so much Vaughan or York or Richmond Hill. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.